Today on Steelers Talk, 2 Patriots wide receivers have been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers in some recent trade rumors from Bleacher Report. I'll break down both of those receivers and how they could potentially fit with the black and gold on offense. Then we'll talk about Cam Sutton today, who is being reinstated from his suspension. He's going to be eligible to play in Week 10 versus the Commanders. I'll discuss whether he should start at slot corner over Beanie Bishop Jr., who has 3 interceptions in his last 2 games played. Then make sure you guys stick around to the end of today's show to see what Colin Cowherd had to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said some pretty nice words about the Steelers a week ago. What did he say this week? Make sure you stick around to see what Mr. Colin had to say. And make sure you guys click that follow button on X if you guys want additional Steelers content from me on that platform. I'm actually going to be putting out a bunch of Russell Wilson film study stuff up on my X account tonight. So if you guys want that Russell Wilson film study stuff, you guys can go to X, follow me at Jack_Sperry. And then we also have a brand new Steelers Talk Instagram page that we just started, where we put up a bunch of short-term or short-form content on that platform. So if you want more short-form content from us on Instagram, you guys can find us at Steelers CS. So let's get into the first kind of segment here on today's News and Rumors show, which is that Bleacher Report has listed both Kendrick Bourne and KJ Osborne as wide receiver targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers before next Tuesday's NFL trade deadline. So first, let's talk about Kendrick Bourne, okay? And Bourne is somebody that I do think could potentially get traded. I think he'd probably be worth around a 7th-round pick or so. He's getting a little bit up there in age at 29 years old. He does bring some pretty decent size at 6'1", 205 pounds. Still has 3 years left on his current contract, including this year. So if you get Kendrick Bourne, he's going to be in Pittsburgh for a little while. And I do think that the Patriots could be a likely seller, especially when it comes to these receivers before we get to Tuesday's deadline. And that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to Kendrick Bourne, where he's kind of a bigger guy. And we'll get into his scouting report here in just a second. But first, let's take a look at his stats from this season here, where he only has 4 catches for 29 yards and no touchdowns this year. He's coming off an ACL tear that he suffered last year, so it's no wonder why the Patriots are looking to unload him. And I would personally think it's going to be a very, very late draft pick if they do find a team willing to take him on. This is what Scott Palasek from the Bleacher Report here had to say about Bourne coming to the Steel City. Bourne has been limited this season with just 4 catches for 29 yards in 4 games, but he had 800 receiving yards in 2021 and could fit into an offense that needs secondary playmakers who could take advantage of single coverage from opposing secondaries. Enter the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers need more offensive firepower if they are going to challenge the likes of the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills in the postseason. It will be too easy for opposing defenses to double Pickens and contain the passing game if they largely only have to worry about him. So you take a look at my scouting report here, and honestly, I'm not sure if I love the fit between Kendrick Bourne and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do think he brings some good size like we talked about. I think he's got reliable hands. I think that he's really tough over the middle of the field, and then he is a crafty route runner. He's kind of a similar receiver to what we've been talking about with Adam Thielen, where he's kind of a guy that's really good on the in-breaking stuff, slants, digs, crossers, that kind of thing. But in terms of being a vertical threat down the field, that's just not Kendrick Bourne's game. He ran a 4.68 40 when he was coming out of college, and he's even slower now because obviously he's older now. He's not the spring chicken he was when he came into the league, so he's even slower than that now. Also, he's had injury concerns, particularly with that knee. He tore his ACL last year, and you can kind of see a lack of his explosion this year with just 4 catches on the season. And, I think that he's a crafty, pretty good wide receiver 3, I think, on a team. I think he's kind of similar to like a Jawan Jennings of the San Francisco 49ers, where he's a crafty route runner. He can get open over the middle of the field. He can make tough catches over the middle. But I'm just not sure if this is what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for in terms of the player that they want at the wide receiver position. I mean, with Russell Wilson throwing the ball down the field, they want guys that can separate down the field. They want guys that can win on 50-50 ball opportunities close to the sideline. And that's just not really Kendrick Bourne's game. He's more of a middle of the field merchant. And if you know anything about Russell Wilson's game, he doesn't particularly love to throw the ball over the middle of the field. So I just think that this is a completely terrible fit between Kendrick Bourne and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And I think that, there's other receivers out there that they would much rather have. And then also with KJ Osborne, I'm not even going to get into his scouting report because his profile is actually very similar to Kendrick Bourne's, where he's not the best athlete. He's a crafty route runner. He can get open over the middle of the field. I think he's slightly faster than Kendrick Bourne, for whatever that's worth, but it's not like Osborne is somebody that you're going to line up outside and throw a 50-50 ball down the field or expect him to separate vertically. So I just don't see the fit between Kendrick Bourne and KJ Osborne. So honestly, I just don't know where Bleacher Report is coming from here by linking these two receivers to the Steelers offense. I think 4 receivers that could work with this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I've been talking about them here on the show, so I won't go too in depth here. But Cooper Kupp, I know a lot of people think that there's no chance the Steelers could land him, but if the Rams lose this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks, I think that they could still potentially deal him before Tuesday's deadline. Darius Slayton is a guy that can get open down the field. We saw that on Monday Night Football this past weekend. Jacoby Myers is somebody that can absolutely he's kind of like a souped-up version of Kendrick Bourne and Adam Thielen, and I think he gets open more than those guys, so I think Jacoby would be a better fit than Kendrick Bourne or Adam Thielen, and Mike Williams is a true 50-ball winner down the sideline that obviously the Steelers are highly interested in. I think if the Giants lose on Thursday Night Football tomorrow night against the Texans, I think Mike Williams might be a Steeler before Tuesday's deadline. So who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comment section. Which wide receiver are you hoping the Pittsburgh Steelers target before Tuesday's deadline? Let me know down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Game Time. And while I talk about Game Time, go down there, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section, and answer today's pinned question. With that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And we've had multiple people here on Steelers Talk reach out to me here over the last several weeks to tell me that they got great seats to go to Steelers games this year, particularly the Sunday night and Monday night football games at Acrisure Stadium, by using the brand new feature on the free Game Time app called Game Time Picks. And what Game Time Picks does, guys, is it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you can get your butt in an Acrisure Stadium seat more often to watch this team play more football games. Now, it's super easy to use. So all you have to do is download the free Game Time app, find an event you want to go see, you select the Game Time Picks button at the top of your screen, and then it automatically filters every single ticket that they have in their database for that event, and to find you the best tickets at the best prices with the best deals, so you don't have to spend hours doing it yourself searching on a bunch of different ticketing sites. What I love about using the Game Time app and why it's the only ticketing app I have on my phone is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS. It's right down there in the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Against just for your first purchase. Create an account with Game Time today and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So a question that I have on my mind here, and something that's going to be interesting to kind of monitor over the next 2 weeks, is whether or not Cam Sutton, who is coming back and being reinstated after his 8-week suspension to start this season, is he going to start at slot corner right away for the black and gold? And the reason why we have to have this discussion is because undrafted free agent Beanie Bishop Jr. has actually been playing pretty darn good, especially at the last 2 weeks, where he has collected a whopping 3 interceptions, including a game-sealing interception last week against the New York Football Giants. So you take a look here at Beanie Bishop Jr., what he's done this season to this point. He has 25 tackles from the slot. He has collected 2 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions like we have talked about, and 5 pass breakups. And, those numbers are pretty darn good for somebody coming out of West Virginia as a UDFA that has really earned, his stripes here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I can understand why people don't want to take him out of the lineup if he's not necessarily broken. With that being said, though, you take a look at his Pro Football Focus grading this year. And by the way, Pro Football Focus grading isn't gospel necessarily, but I think it's a good tool to see, maybe just how good a player is playing throughout the course of a season. Right now, he's ranking 75th out of 110 corners in the National Football League. The coverage grade is okay at 62.6. That's gone up in recent weeks, by the way. He's gotten better every week he's played. And then the run defense grade is just not very good, if I'm being completely honest with you, at 53.1. I think the bigger Cam Sutton, if you put him in the slot, might be probably a better option in terms of being a run defense defender from the slot for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And in terms of this decision here, I'm not necessarily sure what the best decision is. And honestly, I trust Mike Tomlin to make the right decision in this instance. He's the one at practice. He's the one that knows where Cam Sutton is in his readiness to play in this league after missing the first 8 weeks. And he knows where Beanie's at as well. So I trust Mike Tomlin like I trusted him to make the right decision at quarterback. I also have all the trust in the world in him to make the right decision at slot corner. So if they decide to go to Cam, I'm gonna give Mike the benefit of the doubt here, and kind of assume that he's seeing something from Sutton here that he thinks is going to be better and an upgrade over Beanie Bishop Jr. if he does decide to do that. And my best guess is that's what he will do. Okay, there's a reason why they signed him. There's a reason why there's reports out there from like Mark Caboli saying the team can't wait for Cam Sutton to get back into the fold here. So I think that the Steelers really like him, and I think that if I were to guess right now, I think they're probably going to go with the veteran Sutton over the rookie Beanie Bishop Jr. But again, that's just a guess. So who should start? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Do you really care either way? Or are you good with either? Let me know down there in the comments section. Type CS if you want Cam Sutton to start versus the Commanders in Week 10, or if you want to stick with the rookie and Beanie Bishop Jr., type BB down there in the comments. So I promised you guys a little bit of a Colin Cowherd segment here at the end of today's show. So what exactly did he have to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers this week after their second straight win with Russell Wilson under center? Well, this is what he had to say. The Steelers found their quarterback. He may not be the answer forever, but Russell Wilson is now 2-0 as the starter. Justin Fields had the higher ceiling, but a lower floor. And with this run game and this defense, you just need to stay away from mistakes. It looks a little like Seahawks lite. Defensive coach, defensive culture, couple of playmakers, strong run game, better than average special teams. It is a sturdy ship that needs a sail. Russell Wilson has become their sail. And, I actually mostly agree with Cowherd's take on this. It does kind of appear to be very similar to the Seahawks setup here in Pittsburgh, and that's why the Steelers felt like Russell Wilson was a good answer for them, especially at the vet minimum that they were able to sign him to in free agency this year. Now, where I disagree with Colin, what he just said, is the part about Justin Fields having the higher ceiling. I think Russell Wilson, with his ability to throw the ball down the field, to not miss open receivers down the field, has absolutely raised the ceiling of this Steelers offense. And we've seen that over these last 2 weeks where they have scored 10 more points per game than when Justin Fields was at quarterback. So not only is Russell Wilson making fewer mistakes, but he's also making more big plays. So I think he's raising the floor and raising the ceiling for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just because Justin Fields can run it better than Russell Wilson doesn't necessarily mean that the ceiling is higher with him. I think that, when it comes to the quarterback position, your ability to throw the ball down the field, especially in the Steelers offense that really relies on throwing the ball down the field to work off of play action in this heavy run game, I think Russell Wilson is more suited for this type of offense, and I think that is shown with the drastic difference in the points per game for Pittsburgh these last 2 weeks with Russ as opposed to what it was in the first 6 weeks with Fields. But where I agree with Colin here is that this team is very well constructed, and it's very similar in terms of the setup to what Russell Wilson had in Seattle to begin his career when he led this team to 2 Super Bowls, right? It was the defense that really led the way with the Legion of Boom. They had a great run game with Marshawn Lynch. Najee Harris maybe isn't quite Marshawn, but he is a very similar type of quarterback where they can run the football consistently and effectively. Got a couple of playmakers, George Pickens and Calvin Austin III have really shown to be really reliable weapons here lately, and they got Russell Wilson there to make some big plays down the field, stretch the ball vertically, and then not turn the ball over. And those are all things that are happening. The special teams has been fantastic. And I just think this is one of the more complete football teams in the game with Russell Wilson at the helm. And like those Seattle teams, I think this Steelers team is officially a Super Bowl contender. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Can the Pittsburgh Steelers win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson this year? Do they even have a 1% chance to win a Super Bowl this year? I think with Justin Fields, the answer was no. For me, with Russell Wilson, I think the answer to that question is yes. Let me know down there in the comments section what you think with a yes or no. That'll be it for today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors. Tomorrow, Coop and I, we will be back live on Steelers Talk Live to go over a bunch of different things. I think we're going to talk a little bit about Broderick Jones and some potential replacement options if the Steelers want to replace him before the trade deadline. The latest trade news and rumors. We'll also have our mailbags. We got a bunch of great stuff coming tomorrow, guys, so don't be late. 5 p.m. Eastern Time is when we're going to be going live tomorrow. So make sure you click that subscribe button. Until tomorrow, guys, here we go, Steelers.